There are countless facilities that, for various reasons, are strictly off limits and kept from public knowledge, and it's only thanks to open-source mapping projects and the ease of sharing information online that they're coming to light. From classified testing facilities to training camps, strange anomalies, and strategic installations, it's time to take a closer look at 15 forbidden places kept secret by governments. Let's start with number 15, the HARP Research Program, Gakona, Alaska. Is an investigative project located near Gakona, Alaska, focusing on the ionosphere, which is the atmospheric layer from about 50 to 400 miles above the Earth's surface. HARP has operated under the control of the University of Alaska Fairbanks since August 2015, when control of the facility was transferred from the U.S. Air Force. The primary research tool of HARP is the Ionospheric Research Instrument, which is a high-powered radio frequency transmitter that can agitate a section of the ionosphere for scientific study. This facility includes a phased array of 180 high-frequency cross-dipole antennas that span over 33 acres, capable of emitting 3.6 megawatts of power into the ionosphere. Now, researchers utilize this setup to explore various phenomena, including effects of solar interaction and how the ionosphere influences radio signals. Such research has significant applications for improving communication and navigation systems like GPS, and could potentially lead to advancements in submarine communication and underground exploration. The research at HARP also ventured into passive observations such as ionospheric characterization, auroral studies, and monitoring long-term atmospheric changes. Having been under the control of the U.S. military for most of the time since it was built in 1990, HARP has, though, become linked with secretive research. Huge restrictions are in place surrounding the site, and while the facility regularly hosts open days where you can go and look around, there's still a huge amount of suspicion about exactly what takes place there and how much the government has revealed about its true nature. Number 14. Federal Intelligence Service Building, Berlin, Germany. The Federal Intelligence Service Building in Berlin, Germany, known as the BND headquarters, was officially opened in 2019 and saw the organization shift to a more transparent and centralized operation. It is still, though, the headquarters of the country's most secretive agency, so the vast majority of what goes on within is top secret. It's the world's largest intelligence service headquarters, even larger than the CIA headquarters at Langley, Virginia. Located in the Mitte district of Berlin, the building is situated on the site of a former sports stadium, and costing approximately €1 billion to construct. It covers an area equivalent to 36 football fields, and it's designed to house over 4,000 of the agency's staff. The decision to move the BND HQ from its former location in a suburb of Munich to Berlin was driven by the need to modernize the agency and integrate it more closely with the government's decision-making. This new location near the former Berlin Wall is significant, symbolizing a departure from a history of concealment towards an era of openness. The building's architecture features an international style with 9 stories above ground and over 5,000 rooms. The headquarters also has a visitor center that's open to the public, marking a first for an intelligence organization. Chancellor Angela Merkel during the opening ceremony emphasized the necessity of having a robust and efficient intelligence service in an increasingly complex and perilous global landscape. Number 13. SAR Shagan, Kazakhstan. SAR Shagan, which is near Lake Balkhash in Kazakhstan, is a site with a significant history as an anti-ballistic missile testing range established by the Soviet Union in 1956. Its placement was strategic, around 1,000 miles from one of Russia's ballistic missile test sites, allowing for the observation of missile launches from a distance that mimicked an intercontinental ballistic missile travel. The site was instrumental in developing Soviet and later Russian ABM air defense systems and advanced radar. This test site was the venue for several groundbreaking military events, including the first successful interception of ballistic missile warhead in 1961 and several high-altitude nuclear tests during the Soviet era. The facility played a vital role in the Soviet defense apparatus, being awarded the Order of Lenin in 1966 for its successful military developments, and the Order of the Red Star in 1981. In the 1990s, the dissolution of the Soviet Union led to the decommissioning and abandonment of many of the site's facilities, and this saw the unauthorized dismantling of equipment on the site. But since then, post-Soviet Russia leased parts of the test site from Kazakhstan, and testing has resumed. Of course, this is all done under the veil of absolute secrecy, and this is one of the sites that Russia is believed to be using to develop next-generation missiles. The most recent test reported was in December of 2022, showing Russia's ongoing interest and investment in the capabilities of this range, and it's thought to be one of the most monitored sites in the world by other world powers looking to get an insight into Russia's new designs. Number 12. Woomera Prohibited Area, Australia. The Woomera Prohibited Area, located in South Australia, is a large, remote tract of land operated by the Royal Australian Air Force. Covering an area of around 47,000 square miles, it's the largest land-based test range in the Western world. The WPA, for short, is used for testing various defense systems and has a history dating back to 1947, when it was first established as a prohibited area. Initially set up for the Anglo-Australian Joint Project, focused on long-range weapons development, the Woomera Test Range played a significant role in the Cold War-era defense projects. The range's early years saw the development and testing of various missiles and rockets, as it offered a vast and minimally populated corridor suitable for such activities. Over time, the Woomera village grew to support the personnel working at the range, and at one point it hosted a population of around 7,000 people. The WPA is divided into zones with different access levels, designated as green, amber, and red, relating to the frequency of defense use. Public access is managed carefully, with certain areas requiring permits. The range complex includes the Woomera Airfield and is situated near the village, which now operates as a semi-public area with its heritage and tourist facilities. Today, although the range is smaller than it first was, it still covers a substantial portion of South Australia. While the WPA is also rich in mineral resources, access for mining activities requires approval, ensuring that defense operations aren't compromised. The range complex continues to evolve, supporting the Australian Defence Force's current and future needs, including space-related activities such as the return of the Hayabusa deep space probe in 2010. Despite the scale back of certain projects like the Nurungar Joint Tracking Facility, the complex has been redefined and remains strategically important for Australia. And as such, most of what happens there is kept secret from prying eyes. Number 11. Camp Peri, Virginia. Camp Peri, located in Virginia, is a huge military reservation that's operated by the CIA and is more commonly known as the Farm. Spanning approximately 9,000 acres near Williamsburg, Virginia, the site is officially known as an Armed Forces Experimental Training Activity under the Department of Defense, but it's mainly used as a training facility for the agency, where the officers of the CIA Directorate of Operations are trained, along with personnel from other organizations involved in clandestine activities, like the Defense Intelligence Agency's clandestine service. The facility's existence has never been formally acknowledged by the U.S., but its role in training CIA operatives is a well-known aspect of Camp Peri. The site is heavily guarded with strict access control, and visitors are usually escorted at all times. Training at the farm is said to be intense and diverse, covering a range of espionage techniques and operational skills. It is highly classified and important today, but Camp Peri has also been vital throughout history too. During the Second World War, it served as a training ground for the Seabees, the construction battalions of the United States Navy who built military facilities during the war. Later, a portion of Camp Peri was used as a detention center for German prisoners, which required extra secrecy to prevent the enemy from realizing that their personnel and potentially sensitive materials like codebooks had not been lost at sea. After the war, the base was briefly vacated by the Navy and became a state forestry and game reserve. However, in 1951, the Navy reacquired the portion north of the then State Route 168 and closed it to public access. Since then, Camp Peri has been shrouded in secrecy, contributing to its mystique and leading to endless theories about the activities that take place there beyond what is known. Number 10. Jan Mayen, Norway. Jan Mayen is a remote volcanic Norwegian island in the Arctic Ocean, known for its rugged landscape and shrouded in mystery due to its isolated location and secretive history. It's 34 miles long and covers an area of about 144 square miles, and while it has no permanent residents, it does host a population of up to 35 non-permanent residents who are involved in managing Norway's radio communications and meteorological stations on the island. The island's biggest feature is the Berenberg volcano, which is the northernmost active volcano on Earth and last erupted in 1985. Despite its inaccessibility, Jan Mayen is of significant scientific interest due to its geological features, including glaciers and its volcanic landscape, and an environment that's influenced by the Arctic climate, with frequent fog and storms and the surrounding waters that are rich in marine life, supporting large populations of seabirds and seals. Because of all this, Jan Mayen was designated as a nature reserve by Norway in 2010, along with a 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone around it. But there are suspicions that the restrictions surrounding access to the island may imply other activities that are taking place too. Humans first used it in the early 17th century when it was discovered by the Dutch, and it was a base for whaling operations. The island has also played a role in scientific exploration and, more importantly, during the Cold War era. It served as the site of a secretive NATO military base, one that many believe is still active under complete secrecy. Number 9. Tunguska Event Site. The Tunguska Event Site in Russia is one of the most otherworldly landscapes on Earth. On June 30th, 1908, a colossal explosion happened near the stony Tunguska River in Siberia, an event that is now known as the Tunguska Event. This explosion flattened over 770 square miles of forest, toppling approximately 80 million trees in a radial pattern away from the blast's epicenter. Strangely though, despite the magnitude of the explosion, believed to be equivalent to 10 to 15 megatons of TNT, no impact crater was ever found. Scientists believe that the explosion was caused by an airburst of a meteor or comet fragment, which disintegrated a few miles above the Earth's surface. This has, in recent times, meant that the site has been linked with a variety of myths, conspiracies, and speculations, ranging from alien spacecraft to black hole pass-throughs. The remoteness of the location combined with the event's mysterious nature has encouraged this, and more than 100 years after the event, scientific expeditions and research continue to focus on understanding the cosmic phenomena behind what happened. Studying treefall patterns, soil samples, and even microscopic spherules found in the area to gather clues about the object's composition and origin. Despite its importance to the world, access to the Tunguska Event Site is heavily restricted, primarily due to its location in a remote part of Siberia. The harsh terrain, lack of infrastructure, that it makes it difficult for tourists and non-scientific visitors to reach it. Furthermore, the Russian government and local authorities have implemented restrictions to protect the site. Officially, these restrictions are in place to preserve the natural state of the environment, prevent looting of potentially valuable meteoric fragments, and ensure that scientific research can be conducted without interference. But there are also suggestions that it could now be rich in rare minerals, which the authorities want to restrict the supply of. Number 8. The Dulce Base, New Mexico. At first, the small town of Dulce in northern New Mexico seems like any other in the region. But this is a place with a surprising amount of secrecy around it, leading many to believe it's the location of a top-secret installation known as the Dulce Base. The supposed secret underground facility is rumored to be a joint human-alien research base with levels descending deep into the Earth, each hosting increasingly dangerous activities. The tales surrounding Dulce Base includes accounts of advanced technology experiments, genetic engineering, and collaborations between humans and extraterrestrial beings. The origins of the base can be traced back to the late 1970s and early 80s, with the publication of various documents and accounts from individuals claiming to have inside knowledge of the operations. Among them, Paul Benowitz, a businessman and physicist, played a pivotal role in popularizing the Dulce Base story. Benowitz believed he was intercepting electronic communications from alien spacecraft and eventually became convinced that these signals were coming from an underground base near Dulce. The stories include descriptions of multiple levels beneath the Earth, each dedicated to different purposes. And despite many of the fascinating and detailed counts of the base, there is no verified evidence to support the existence of any facility. Attempts to investigate or uncover tangible proof of the base's operations have found no credible results. The area around Dulce is tribal land belonging to the Apache Nation, which adds another layer of complexity to any investigation, with the Native American community themselves largely dismissing the rumors as unfounded conspiracy theories. There have, though, been a number of accounts of individuals being searched and prevented from driving along seemingly unimportant dirt tracks around the edge of town, which could imply there's something so secretive there that there's a major effort to prevent any evidence from being made public. Moving on to number 7, Kapustin Yar, Russia. Kapustin Yar, located in Astrakhan Oblast, Russia, is one of the most secretive and historically significant military installations in the world. Established in 1946, it served as the Soviet Union's primary rocket launch and development site during the early stages of the Cold War. Its creation was a direct response to the United States' advancements in rocketry and nuclear weaponry, marking the Soviet Union's entry into the space race and its quest for military parity with the West. Over the years, Kapustin Yar has been surrounded by a shroud of mystery and speculation, partly due to its highly secretive nature and its crucial role in the development of Soviet missile tech. The facility was instrumental in testing a wide array of ballistic missiles, as well as launching satellites and space missions, contributing significantly to their space program. The secrecy surrounding this place has fueled numerous conspiracy theories, including stories about UFO sightings and alien technology research. Reports of unexplained phenomena and alleged encounters with extraterrestrial crafts have become part of the lore surrounding the site, in a very similar way to Area 51 in the US. Despite its significant role in the Soviet military, details remained highly classified throughout the Cold War. It was only with the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the subsequent opening of Russian archives that information about the site's activities began to emerge. Today, while still operational and under control of the Russian Federation, many aspects remain classified, particularly those related to current military testing and space exploration projects. Number 6. RAF Menwithth Hill, United Kingdom. RAF Menwithth Hill, which is in North Yorkshire in England, is a highly secretive and very important military base that's involved in global surveillance. Operated by the United States with the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense, this base is one of the most important assets in the network of intelligence operations that span the globe. Its huge radomes, which are the large white golf ball-like structures, house sophisticated equipment capable of intercepting communications from satellites. Established during the Cold War, the primary mission was to monitor military and diplomatic communications from the Eastern Bloc. Over the years, its role has evolved with advancements in technology and the changing geopolitical landscape. Today, it's integral to the United States National Security Agency and the UK government communication headquarters, focusing on gathering signals intelligence, monitoring potential threats, and providing intelligence support for military operations. The base's capabilities are believed to include the interception and analysis of electronic communications, including phone calls, emails, and satellite transmissions. It plays a crucial role in counter-terrorism efforts, cybersecurity, and supporting military operations worldwide. And it's a part of the Echelon system, a global surveillance network that's said to capture and analyze vast amounts of global communications for intelligence purposes. The secrecy surrounding its operations has made it the subject of scrutiny and controversy. Privacy campaigners and civil liberties organizations have raised concerns about the extent of surveillance activities there, questioning the impact on individual privacy and the legal oversight of its operations. Despite these concerns, the base remains a critical component of national security infrastructure for both the US and the UK. Number 5. Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, China. The Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, which is deep within the Gobi Desert in the Gansu province in China, is one of the country's most important spaceports and a cornerstone of its space exploration program. Established in 1958, Jiuquan is the oldest and most eventful of China's satellite launch facilities, playing a pivotal role in the development of its space capability. Over the decades, it's been the site of numerous significant milestones in Chinese space history, including the launch of the country's first satellite, Dongfang-Hong 1 in 1970, and its first manned space mission, Shenzhou 5 in 2003. Jiuquan's importance lies in its comprehensive facilities that support a wide range of space activities. The center is equipped to launch both crewed and uncrewed spacecraft, including satellites, into various orbits, scientific exploration missions, and China's manned space flights. The launch complex has seen the development and deployment of several of China's major space systems. It serves as the launch site for the Long March rocket family, which has become the workhorse of the Chinese program. Most importantly, though, is Jiuquan has been instrumental in China's human spaceflight program, launching the Shenzhou missions that have carried Chinese taikonauts into space, marking China's entry into the small group of countries capable of human space exploration. As it is so important to China's space activities, the site is just as secretive as anything that's operated by NASA in the US or Roscosmos in Russia. Admittedly, the Chinese government has pursued a policy of increased transparency in recent years, but with the inseverable link between space launches and the military, there's still plenty that's kept quiet about what happens there. Number 4. Pantex Plant, Texas. The Pantex plant, which is northeast of Amarillo, Texas, is a high-security facility in the United States national security apparatus, particularly because of its role in the maintenance and dismantlement of the country's nuclear arsenal. Established during World War II, initially as a conventional munitions plant, Pantex has evolved into the primary assembly and disassembly facility for nuclear warheads in the U.S. Covering thousands of acres in the Texas Panhandle, Pantex is operated by Consolidated Nuclear Security LLC, under the oversight of the National Nuclear Security Administration, a semi-autonomous agency within the U.S. Department of Energy. The facility's role involves maintaining nuclear weapons throughout their life cycles, ensuring their safety, security, and reliability. This includes the assembly of new warheads, retrofitting and life extension of existing arsenals, and the dismantlement of retired warheads, in line with arms control treaties. The facility's operations are, of course, not without controversy. The presence of vast quantities of nuclear materials and the nature of the work conducted there have raised environmental and safety concerns among locals. Issues related to the handling and disposal of radioactive waste, the potential for accidents, and the long-term health effects on workers and the surrounding community have been subjects of public debate and legal scrutiny. It's because of these controversies, as well as the potential risk of the site being accessed without authorization, that's led to it becoming one of the most secure and secretive sites in the U.S. It can't be known, for example, when weapons are being transported to the site, nor can it be publicly revealed the new weapons being built there, or how much nuclear material is present at any one time. It is, though, vital to the ongoing management and safety of the nuclear program, and as the United States continues to navigate the complexities of global security and arms controls, the Pantex plant remains at the forefront of efforts to ensure that the nation's nuclear arsenal is both safe and effective. Number 3. The Institute for the Works of Religion, Vatican City. The Institute for the Works of Religion, which is more commonly referred to as the Vatican Bank, is a privately held financial institution that's within the sovereign jurisdiction of Vatican City. Established by Pope Pius XII in 1942, the bank's primary mission is to serve the Catholic Church globally, managing the deposits of religious orders, dioceses, Vatican officials, and other Catholic institutions. Unlike typical commercial banks, it operates with specific objectives aligned with the Catholic Church's mission. It facilitates the administration of funds for the purposes of religious or charitable works, the safeguarding of assets, and the provision of financial services to the Church entities worldwide. This includes the management of payroll services for Vatican employees, the transfer of funds between dioceses and religious institutions, and other financial activities that support their goals. The structure of the bank reflects its unique status and purpose. It's overseen by a board of superintendents, a commission of cardinals appointed by the Pope, ensuring that the operations are in line with the Church's ethical and moral teachings. Over the years, the bank has, though, been the subject of controversy and scrutiny, facing allegations of money laundering, fraud, and mismanagement. These issues have prompted calls for reform and greater transparency in its operations, because as a private institution, virtually everything it does is kept secret by the Vatican authorities. Quite what the bank chooses to invest the Vatican funds in is, for example, never revealed. In response to these calls, the Vatican has initiated several reforms aimed at improving the governance, enhancing financial transparency, and ensuring compliance with international regulatory standards. And these efforts have included the closure of suspicious accounts, the introduction of new financial oversight mechanisms, and cooperation with the international bodies to combat financial crimes. As a vital component of the Vatican's ability to fulfill its religious and humanitarian missions, the bank is still given much greater latitude than other institutions to do what it wants, and remains one of the largest banks in the world that's able to operate under such secrecy, something that some groups think is suspicious in itself, if they are truly only focused on good causes. Number 2. Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia is a small, remote island in the central Indian Ocean, and it's part of the British Indian Ocean Territory. The atoll is strategically significant and now serves as a military base for the U.S., thanks to an agreement with the U.K. Its geographic location, situated midway between Africa, Asia, and Australia, makes it an invaluable asset for military operations, logistics, and as a forward deployment site, particularly for the U.S. Navy and Air Force. Originally, it was discovered by the Europeans in the 16th century. Diego Garcia's modern history is a controversial one because of its transformation from a plantation economy to a vital military installation. The island was populated by a small number of Chagosians who cultivated coconuts and were developing other agricultural activities under British colonial rule. In the 1960s and 70s, though, the entire population was forcibly removed to Mauritius and the Seychelles to make way for the construction of the secretive military base, a move that has since been subject of international legal battles and human rights criticisms ever since. The base on Diego Garcia was developed in the 1970s and has since supported several key military operations. It's been used for the strategic bomber operations, surveillance missions, and as a logistics hub during conflicts including the Gulf War, the Afghanistan War, and the Iraq War. Quite what hardware is on the island and the full extent of military activities is classified, though, and it's such an important secret that the original inhabitants still haven't been allowed to return. Despite various legal rulings and international condemnation, the UK has maintained the restrictions, citing security concerns and the strategic importance of the base. This has allowed Diego Garcia to remain as one of the most remote and unmonitored military bases in the world, with the UK willing to take on legal challenges and commit ethically dubious actions to keep it that way. Number 1. Iron Mountain, Pennsylvania. Iron Mountain in Pennsylvania is one of the most important sites in the information management industry. It's famously known for housing one of the most secure data and document storage facilities anywhere in the world. The facility, often seen as mysterious and surrounded by one of the most secure perimeters anywhere on the planet, is where the digital and physical assets of thousands of businesses and government entities from around the world are stored. If you're looking for a national secret, the chances are that it's hidden in there somewhere. Its origins can be traced back to the early Cold War, when fears of nuclear warfare prompted the search for secure storage solutions that could withstand the worst-case scenario. The site itself, a former limestone mine, was transformed into a fortress of information security, taking advantage of its natural geology to provide protection. Over the years, Iron Mountain has expanded its services to beyond simple document storage, evolving into an information management solution that includes digital transformation services, cloud storage, and secure destruction services. What makes Iron Mountain particularly unique is its almost impregnable location. Hidden deep underground, it utilizes the natural protective layers of the earth to shield its contents from external threats. The facility has strict access controls, state-of-the-art surveillance systems, and climate-controlled environments designed to preserve integrity of even the most delicate materials. It even has its own artificial subterranean lake to help maintain the temperature at optimal levels. This level of security and preservation capability has attracted a diverse clientele, including government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, and even individual collectors seeking the highest standards of protection for their records and valuables. Most of the largest record agencies, for example, keep their master copies in the facility, and it has its own recording studio so the discs can be sampled without ever removing them. Also housing some of the world's most precious artifacts and documents, including iconic photographs, original recordings of historic events, and critical legal documents, the true vastness of what's stored there will never be known because of the secrecy that surrounds it. And it's so secure, it's said to be even more difficult to breach than Fort Knox. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.